Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Quick introduction. I am Dr. Pushkar Singh. I am the Director of Medical and Business Operations at Rusan Pharma. I have spent 30 years of my life in the Indian Armed Forces. I am a community medicine specialist by profession. For 15 years in the Armed Forces, I was practicing de-addiction amongst the Armed Forces. And as both our doctors from All India Institute brought out, the army is fond of its liquor. And as you very rightly brought out, that in the face of the enemy, when you have to give your life up, you require a little bolstering up to do that, because the families are behind. Well, that was true in the 65 and 71 war. We were giving rum out, rum rations were given because you were attacking the face of the enemy and you knew that most probably you will die. But today the wars have become covert, overt. There is no place for liquor. I spent 2.5 years in Kupwara, in the worst terrorist infected area of this country. Why I say infection? Because it's like a viral infection. And there, my men were lying in ambush. My men were sitting through snow, through sleet, through rain. Not one drop of liquor was in them. Because if they weren't in their topmost senses, they would have got killed. But when we got them out of there, so as Dr. Rao very rightly said, we imbibed a lot of alcohol at one go to break the stress. It's monotonous, it's stressful. And therefore liquor has through the centuries been with mankind and will continue to be so. Our very good friend, the elephants also love their liquor. If you've seen the African elephants, they really have a ball when they find the right trees, and they have a lot of liquor from those trees, which are semi-digested fruits. Coming back to the topic, Rusan Pharma has actually been since 1994 providing the country with de-addiction medications. We were the first company to come into the country. We are second to Reckitt Benckiser. Reckitt Benckiser is the largest company in the world, which had Subutex and Suboxone, which it is doing in USA and Europe. And thanks to the help of the Government of India, thanks to the help of All India Institute of Medical Sciences and stalwarts from the UNODC and other government institutions, we have now spread our wings and are slowly supplying not only to the country, where we have supplied buprenorphine, naloxone combinations, but we are also supplying to Southeast Asia. We also gave the first methadone for the trials, for the 5-city trials for the country. I am going to focus today in very short aspect on a certain area of the country which is known as Punjab. Because Punjab is having a very, very tough time, ladies and gentlemen, and has been in the news for the addiction potential which is actually broken up like an explosion there. Before I go to Punjab, I'd just like to discuss with you, what do we have? What does Rusan Pharma have? As you know, we have ADNOC group, that is 0.2 milligram buprenorphine, 0.4 milligram buprenorphine, and 2 milligram buprenorphine. We have ADNOC N, which is 2.5 milligram buprenorphine, where it's 2 milligram of buprenorphine and 0.5 milligram of naloxone. And as I was telling Dr. Rao, we also have a smaller dosage of 0.5 milligram of buprenorphine naloxone combination. I have specifically made this in our factory in Dehradun to cater to the demand of doctors across the country for lower dosage forms, so that they can actually adjust the dose and have take-home medicine available with them. We also do methadone, that is our meth. We do Adtrex. Adtrex is our brand name for our naltrexone tablets, 50 milligram tablets. We have naloxone 0.4 milligram per ml as for opioid overdose. And we are very shortly going to come out with Tobacconil transdermal patches, which are for smoking, to prevent smoking. And we have 3 strains of that, 7 milligrams, 14 milligrams and 21 milligram patches. Each patch will be used for 1 day and it will come in a pack of 7 for 7 days. and we normally recommend a treatment schedule for at least 3 months to get rid of smoking. Punjab, ladies and gentlemen, has been in the forefront. As per media reports, 70% of the youth in Punjab is affected by drug addiction. This is having a direct effect on social and cultural relations within and outside the family and leading to high levels of stress. Increased rates of petty crime, road rage, traffic accidents, increased domestic violence, but most importantly, 21.02 IDUs in Punjab are now HIV positive. In the late 1980s, when the HIV epidemic was coming into India, Northeast stood out on its own, where transmission of the HIV virus was mainly injecting drug use, while the rest of the country was sexual spread. From that, NACO suddenly got aware, and through NSAP 1, 2, 3, 4, we started working in Northeast and have been able to contain the level of spread of injecting drug use in the Northeast. The figures which NACO has sent out, now in Manipur it's only 17% transmission of HIV and it's 21.02% in Punjab. So Punjab is really going through a very bad epidemic. So I just pulled out some figures. PGI Chandigarh has done a decadal study over the last 3 decades, and I'd like to invite your attention to very interesting facts which came out. See, these 3 decades are 78 to 88, 89, 98 and 9908. They have seen a total of 6,608 patients during this phase. There has been a geometric increase more or less from 555 in the first decade to 1885 and exploded to 4,168. But more importantly, how did it change from the alcohol, the opioid, the natural opioid, the tobacco and the polysubstance use? If you see, alcohol is more or less steady. Opioid use slowly increased. The natural opioid, because of poppy husk availability which used to be there, poppy straw which used to be there, now it's slowly decreasing. Opioids are increasing. So that has come down to 18.3. But what's been the biggest push is tobacco has gone to 57.2%. And polysubstance abuse has gone up to 62.7%. So as Dr. Rao and Dr. Atul brought out, we are not only dealing with just opioid or just alcohol dependent patients. We are going to be dealing with polysubstance abuse. And that's where the real expertise of doctors is going to come into play. What medication to use? How much time do we have them in inpatient? What to give when and how to decide what to give first and what to give second. So that is another issue which is going to come up. From the perspective, you see, in 2004, I spent 3 years with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime after my army tenure, and I was the Northeast coordinator in Shillong, and actually looked after the entire 7 states for the HIV/AIDS program. I set up the NACO sub-office in Guwahati, right from the time when I started taking the place on rent to staffing it completely. So I've been very actively involved both with NACO, both with Ministry of Social Justice and Environment, and now today I'm sitting on the other side of the fence, where I'm actually producing the medicine in my factory, which is being used in the country. So I thought, let me give you a perspective of what medicine I am giving where, on the basis of that, how many patients am I having? So if you just look at this, I am giving Punjab 2,26,800 tablets per month of 2.5 milligram adnocaine. 0.5 milligram 63,000 tablets, 0.2 milligram 34,000, 0.4 2,64,000 and adnoc 2 milligram 19,530. If I convert all this into a 2 milligram dose, I have 3,15,472 tablets of 2 milligrams. If I further convert it to the fact that on an average addict requires 4 milligrams, which is on the lower side, on an average over a period of time. So 4 milligrams per patient per day, that means 2 tablets per day, and in 1 month treatment he'll require 60 tablets. I divide that by what I have got here, and actually I am treating 5,257 patients in every month, while the PGI Chandigarh in 30 years treated 6,608 patients. Here we are seeing approximately this many patients. and we are just one company. There are 5 other companies working in Punjab providing various forms of buprenorphine. So you can well understand, and I'm sure they are selling too, because their presence is very much there. So you can understand what is the potential and what is the problem which the country is going through. So both at the policy level with the Ministry of Social Justice and Environment or with the Ministry of Finance, we as a responsible company are interacting continuously. And the new law of the NDPS, the draft resolution which has been changed, to a large extent this was due to support from us also, where within this next monsoon session, hopefully we hope the NDPS rules will pass. And the new law, there's a draft change in the NDPS Act of 1985. If that comes into effect, easier availability of the drugs will be there, but more importantly, there will be easier availability of pain medications for cancer patients. What has been very clearly brought out earlier, I'm just taking a little away from de-addiction, is that at present, out of 25 lakh cancer patients in the country, only 2% can access good quality opioid medicines. That's basic tablet is morphine 10 milligram tablet, right? And we need to drastically up that. But I'm happy to say that we have another thing, buprenorphine being 25 to 40 times as potent as morphine, more potent than morphine. 0.2 milligrams of buprenorphine has been approved for pain management in all cancer areas. It does not carry the problem of having a narcotics license, and it can be dispensed by doctors. So 0.2 milligram buprenorphine for pain management more or less is equivalent to around 10 milligrams of morphine tablets. So is an excellent tablet for pain management in cancer patients. Please keep that in mind, or chronic pain management. Why do you think we are having success in Punjab, or why have we been supplying to many countries? As Dr. Atul was telling me, that there's something to do with your bioavailability of the drug. We went with ADNOC into Europe. Small little story which I'll tell you. We went to with ADNOC to Europe, and Europe said when you have to register it, you have to have compare your drug with the Reckitt-Benckiser drug called Subutex and Suboxone. So we said fine, that's the reference drug, we'll compare it. To our horror, we realized that we were around 8 times better than them. So we had to dilute our drug to bring it down to the level of Suboxone to make it register for Europe. Post haste after that, of course, Reckitt-Benckiser came and visited us. There were some issues involved, right? But what I'm trying to say is, in Punjab, we are getting the same feedback, because we also produce the API. The API is produced by Rusan Pharma. We have excellent bioefficacy, quick sublingual absorption, no unpleasant taste, and minimal side effects.